Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the December 9th Lebanon City Council meeting. Our first order of business will be the Pledge of Allegiance. Chief Batts, will you lead us, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I figured if you lead it, we'd have everybody join in since you got your guys working here for you. So, next up will be the roll call members. Madam Clerk, will you call the roll, please?
Yes. Councilman Kincaid.
Present.
Councilman Campbell.
Here.
Councilman Jones.
Here.
Councilman Robertson.
Here.
Councilman Copeland. Is absent. Councilman Wheat.
Present.
Councilman Messenger. Thank you.
Okay. Next up will be the approval of the minutes from our previous meeting. Are there any changes to the minutes? Okay.
Make a motion, we approve the minutes.
Motion to approve. Is there a second? Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. I believe it was Brad.
Got it.
All opposed? Okay. Minutes are approved. First up will be we have a firefighter promotion tonight, so I'll have Chief Batts come forward, introduce the candidate.
Good evening, everyone. It's my pleasure to introduce Jason Hendricks. Tonight, we are swearing Jason in to the rank of lieutenant. Jason's dedication, his work ethic, and attention to detail is second to none. It's an honor to work with him. He represents everything that is good about the fire service. He is a 16-year veteran of the fire service, with 9 of those at Lebanon Fire. So at this time, I'd like to introduce Jason.
Are you doing it, Chief? You want me to do it? No, go ahead. Okay. You want to stand over here for me? Then raise your right hand and left hand on the Bible. You want to stand over here? Yes. There you go. Perfect. And then repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Jason Hendricks,
Solemnly swear
solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Indiana
and the Constitution of the State of Indiana
and all laws and ordinances
and all laws and ordinances
of the City of Lebanon,
of the City of Lebanon,
and I will faithfully
and I will faithfully
discharge my duties
discharge my duties
as Lieutenant of the Lebanon Fire Department
as Lieutenant of the Lebanon Fire Department
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I just want to thank Mayor Gentry. I want to thank the Lebanon Fire Administration for this opportunity. And obviously, I want to thank my family for coming out and supporting me. And I want to thank, of course, my fellow brothers that came out as well. So thank you for this opportunity, and really looking forward to the next chapter of my career. Thank you.
Good. Thank you. And we can pause and let you guys clear out, get back to work. Back to work. Thank you for coming. Okay, next item up is turn over to Mike. We have a guest with us tonight. Let you introduce.
Yes, we have the new executive director for the Boone County
Community
Community Foundation,
Foundation.
excuse me. And her name is Jody Giedel. So Jody, would you get up and introduce yourself for a couple minutes? Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Jody Giedel. I'm the new president and CEO of the Community Foundation of Boone County. Thank you so much for letting me be here tonight to speak to you. You know, we all look around ourselves and we ask what drives us. As business leaders, community leaders, even leaders in our own homes, we ask what drives us. And it's usually, you know, a different answer for each person. What drives us at the Community Foundation of Boone County is from Advance to Zionsville, from Thorntown to Jamestown, we exist to unite businesses, people, and philanthropy to create a thriving community for all of Boone County. From our vast economic corridor along I-65 to our rich agricultural heritage, we have a unique opportunity in Boone County to serve the people that no one else is serving and help those that no one else is helping. We began in 1991 with a $15,000 endowment from the Lillian Foundation. We now exist up to $24 million in assets in our permanent endowment, and we've given out over $24 million since our inception. We support about 90 not-for-profits here in Boone County. We administer 40 of the scholarships through the Education Foundation, and we have about a 13% return on our investment in our endowment, so it's pretty darn good. I've only been on the job about 3 weeks, so I don't have all the answers, but what I do know is right before I arrived, the Lilly Endowment allowed for Boone County and all of the counties in Indiana to do a needs assessment for all of their residents to find out what are the top things in your county that people are happy with, and what are the things that they really find that they're not happy with, where we have opportunities that we can improve. Interestingly enough, they collected thousands of surveys across Boone County. Some of you might have been involved. And they came up with 3 things that people really love about Boone County. You can probably guess them, and I'm sorry that the firefighters aren't still here to hear this. Public safety, number 1. Number 2, the family-friendly environment. And number 3, the good quality education. So then that leads us to, well, what is it that they aren't happy with? And some of these won't come as a surprise to you. Public transportation, meaning lack thereof, lack of affordable housing, and lack of opportunities for people under the age of 21. Now, as you can imagine, you can interpret those results multiple different ways, and that's our job right now. We're in our next phase with the Lilly Endowment to work on coming up with more focus groups and diving into what it is that we can do to help Boone County, because we're going to try to write a grant for over $2 million back to Lilly to do a project that would impact all of the lives in Boone County, as many as we can. So what are we asking of you, the City Council? I'm asking you to be aware of us. Be aware that we exist and what it is that we do. Again, like I said, we unite people and organizations and philanthropies to create a thriving Boone County for all. And as you can imagine, we have vast differences in our county, as you're aware. So if you can be aware of us and link arms with us and be aware that we exist, when you're speaking to your constituents, be aware of the foundation. One of the things that we need to do is raise awareness. What is it that we do? We went on a campaign a couple of weeks ago where we said we're going to go around and help 10 random charities in Boone County. This will give you an idea of just the types of organizations that we help. We went around and I said, I want $10,000 and we're going to give $1,000 to 10 random charities. This is what we're going to do. So we went out and we did one of the scholarships here in Boone County. We then moved on to the WAM program in Advance, which is an after-school program where children have a place to go, they get a meal, they get help with their homework. I just came from volunteering there myself today. We then moved up to the Sugar Creek Arts Center, so we're helping the arts and the environment there. On to the Caring Center in Lebanon, where they're passing out Thanksgiving meals. We then, Boone County Senior Services, so helping our seniors here. On to Whitestown, to the Humane Society, and to the Boys and Girls Club. Down on to Zionsville, to the Sullivan Months, so that we're, again, supporting arts and the museum there. And then all the way back up here to Lebanon, which was really a fun one, to end at the Big 4 Trail, which has been such a huge initiative this year. So you can kind of see an idea. That's just 10 of the 90 that we support. So you'll see us out and about serving with our hands and our feet and our funds, and I just appreciate that you can help us raise awareness of what the Boone County Community Foundation does. Thank you.
Thank you, Jody. Thank you for coming. I know that's a big job and a big undertaking. I know you'll do a great job for everybody. So
Thank
appreciate
you so
that.
much. If you have any questions, you can find us on our website, communityfoundationbc.org. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, on to old business. I don't have anything on my agenda. Anything from the council?
No, sir.
Okay, we'll move on to new business. This is a letter of financial support, federal grant application for the reconstruction of County Road 250 North from State Road 39 to Witt Road. I'll turn it over to Kevin Krulich to introduce.
Thank you, Mayor and council members. Relatively straightforward. You've seen similar financial commitment letters from our department before. This is a financial commitment letter for the reconstruction of County Road 250 North from Witt Road east to State Road 39. It's about 0.67 miles. The plan would be to submit this financial application, or this financial commitment, along with an application through the federal call for projects on the most recent notice of funding availability. This funding would not become available until 2025, so we've got quite a bit of time ahead of us before this project would come to fruition. But what we have before you is a financial commitment letter that would go along with that application that is required to submit that application. I should note we have letters of support also from our local police and fire departments, from the Boone County Commissioners, as well as the Lebanon Community School Corporation's Transportation Department. So I think we all agree this is a needed project, especially with the development in the area. Total project cost right now is estimated at $8,454,250. This would be a standard 20% match. 20% of that total would be the city's responsibility, for a total local match of $1,690,850. Again, the primary need is in 2025 when that project would actually go to contract, but we would have some intermittent dates that we would have to hit. Sometime in 2021, we would have design fees and right-of-way acquisition fees that would total, our percentage would total approximately $167,700. And then sometime in 2023, we would have fees of $155,400. That's our portion. And then the remaining $1,367,750 would not be due until 2025. Again, this is all contingent on us being successful in obtaining this grant from Federal Highway. There was a 3-page letter. The first page kind of outlines what I just mentioned. The second page would outline more detailed fund sources that we would anticipate taking these monies from. That is still being developed and working with Tanya Thayer, Clerk Treasurer, to develop that actual detailed schedule. And then the third page is your signature blocks. So I guess what I'd ask for tonight, if it would appease the council, is a motion to approve the issuance of said letter, subject to a funding strategy to be developed by the Clerk Treasurer's Office, represented on page 2, and then we could execute the letter.
So just to clarify, so this is the entire section between 39 and Witt Road.
Yes.
And again, this is an area, we've kind of started. We know those are a lot of really county road sections in that area that we've tried to start improving. Really, the first step next year will be the bridge reconstruction on Witt Road. Obviously, this is 2025, so this is kind of fairly out in the future, but this is something that we know there's growth happening in this area. We want to make sure we have the proper infrastructure to handle that. And this is the mechanism to go about doing that.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Mayor. Yes, you're familiar with the $1 million bond that is in the process of being issued for the reconstruction of the Witt Road Bridge. So we would anticipate then late 2020, but most likely 2021, that bridge would be constructed. In 2022 or 2023, or possibly a project that would lag into both construction seasons, we would reconstruct north of I believe it's Justin Lane into the Hickory Meadows subdivision up to 250, and then being ready for 2025 for construction of Witt Road. So this is all sort of anticipating the growth we've seen in that area and trying to improve those county road cross sections. We have 306 lots roughly approved on the Sunbrook and Sunbrook Villas project. We had 85 lots approved over on the Riley Ridge project. And I have no reason to believe that growth wouldn't continue to be seen in that northwest quadrant of the city, as it is most ripe for development because of the utility infrastructure in the area.
Roughly, I realize this is very preliminary, but what kind of upgrades are we talking? Like a Super 2 or just
better road surface and curbs, or?
No, this
what are
is,
we
this
looking
would
at?
be a full reconstruction from the bottom up, starting with storm sewers, as well as then we could partner, not included in this, but we could partner with Lebanon Utilities for any other water infrastructure that would need to be replaced in that area. And then going up, it would be a full-blown curb and gutter reconstruction with 2 lanes, 1 in each direction, plus center turn lanes as needed, a 10-foot path on one side of the road, a 5-foot sidewalk on the other.
What about the railroad track?
It would include upgrading the railroad track crossing as well to signalize that crossing. As you know, we
Eliminate-
had a fatality at that crossing this last year. We'd like to see that upgraded as well.
So it would be leveled out.
There would be some leveling out. There'd probably still be some rise to it, but more importantly, the safety, the crossing arms would be upgraded. The safety of that crossing would be drastically improved. The only way we could make it safer would be to make it grade separated, but given the existing homes in the immediate vicinity, grade separating that would, well, it would cost a lot more.
Yeah.
But this would give us the crossing arms that would
You
go
get rid
down.
of the ski jump, though.
We would get rid of the ski jump, yes.
I know we will be acquiring right of way down through there, but we do have some areas in that area right there that are not annexed into the city.
Correct.
That would be nice if, since we're going to be surrounding them totally, that I think we ought to try to look at annexing those properties that are there. I think there's like 4, maybe 3 or 4 properties there that are not annexed into the city.
So we have some that are on the north side of 250, but there are some on the south side of 250 that are not,
Yeah,
correct?
there's 2 on the south side and 1, maybe 2 on the north side
Yeah.
right there, just past the nursing home there.
Right.
I will have to say that I'm all for this because we've needed to do this for years and get this thing done and out of the way. Not just because of the improvements that are happening with the new housing and so forth, but mainly because that years ago was planned to be kind of a little thoroughfare across around Lebanon 250 North was, and Anderson Lane. So it's time that we go ahead and get to the other side. The other side of that is also that we make the improvements on Whit Road to get to there. Also needs to make that really nice loop around Lebanon. So I think that's something that needs to be done. The only thing I would like to do, Kevin, is to have you sit down with a couple of members of the council and the mayor if he'd like to, and let's talk about all the projects that we currently have and where they're going to fall and what funding sources are needed, when they're going to be needed, and where, so we really have a good idea, because I'm all for, we've done, and I was talking to the mayor earlier this evening, we have done a lot in the last 16 years, I'll say, especially the last 8, of projects in the city. And right now, we're growing right now. We seem to be doing more. And I just want to make sure that we're planning our funding right for these projects. So that way we don't run out or we get surprised that we have to come up with some big chunk of money somewhere.
Right.
That we overextended ourselves. I want to make sure we have control of it. So sometime now, could you try to put together a list of all the projects we've got hanging out there, give us an idea when they're coming through, and then work with a couple guys on the council and the mayor if you'd like to, and just so we have an idea where the funding sources, and Tanya might want to jump in there too so she understands.
Sure.
What we're thinking as funding sources, these projects are going to happen.
Yeah.
I just don't want us to get caught out there that we get.
He's got a schedule out there. I mean, the schedule's pretty detailed, maybe up to 20 projects with timelines.
Well, I know, but we've got projects now that we're working on now, and we're getting a lot of money. Basically, it looks like to me we're getting a lot of money planned out there, that we need an idea where is that planning going to come for these fundings, because there's not enough money to do, what was it, $165 billion projects to do in the next 20 years.
Yeah, to to talk to a little bit about that, yeah, there is a 20-year sort of capital improvement
Yeah.
schedule that I put together that we had a working session on. I would love the opportunity to go back and revisit that. I know that was a light speed trip through that schedule. Maybe we need to drill down on maybe the next 10 years of that schedule. And one of the things that schedule didn't include was the actual funding sources. So that's something that I would welcome the opportunity to sit down with the mayor and council and the clerk treasurer and start figuring out how we might develop a financial strategy to make those things
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah.
Regarding this project, I have a theory that we could fund this with CCI, CCD money, same way we funded the Indianapolis Avenue project. That's money that we get from the state. A lot of that is cigarette tax money that's distributed. I want to say it's roughly $400,000 a year.
Yeah.
So we have 5 years to raise that money. So that math works out pretty well, that we could use that source to pay for this. But again, that's just one small piece of a large
Well, we
list of
got
projects that we need.
Grant Street, and we're looking at Fordyce Street, and we got all these other projects we're talking about.
Yes.
And, I want to make sure we're covering them.
And that's an important part of it. And you did give us the spreadsheet, but as Keith and I were discussing a little while ago, we need these letters that we keep signing, that we're committing to funds. We're committed to those funds, so in 2025, we may have all forgotten that until the letter comes. So that to me is the critical thing, that we have an accounting of every single thing we've committed to for the future, and I don't think anybody's got that. We sign these kind of letters and they go off, and as long as somebody remembers it, but 6 months from now, we'll all forget it. So that's my big concern.
So right now, the only letter we have outstanding would be the Next Level Trails grant for the Big Four Trail. The other two, the infra grant and the build grant through the federal highway, we did not receive those. So those letters are now void. So those.
One more addition would be the Grant Street project.
I'm sorry, the Grant Street project.
That goes back it goes back 2 years, but that is another financial commitment. Again, it's just shy of 1.4 million, I think, for that project.
And see, we got the bridge at Whit Road, and we also going to have the bridge at Elmwood, and we're going to figure out how we're going to do those.
Those are bonds, though, so those
Yeah, I
are
understand.
being issued
But-
already, but yeah. But fair point. And I think that's I mean, the big elephant for sure is the interchange, right? That's a big lift. At this point, that's not something that's been funded. That's not something the federal highway is ready to fund yet. So that's we're trying to figure out what we can do to improve our road network in the meantime, so to speak. So.
Yeah. If you remember, I think that financial commitment was something like 5% of the $60 million that project was going to equal to. But again, those we were not successful in those grant applications, so those commitment letters no longer exist.
Well, I remember the days we did nothing, and we're pretty much successful right now by getting things done, and I'd like to see us stay that way. I know everybody gets tired of seeing orange barrels, but, we're making improvements to the city and the infrastructure in the city that needs to happen, so.
And I think something else too that Kevin and I have talked a lot about is that we're really trying to target really all locations in town, right? We're really trying to see where are the problem areas, and obviously this corridor is important, Grant Street's important, Fordyce has been an issue for a long time. So we're really trying to target kind of no matter where they are in town, figure out ways to fund these different projects. And luckily we do have lots of different buckets we can use to fund them. So I'm sure I welcome the discussion to figure out, what exactly the details say, but
Absolutely.
I know we have the funds to do it, so.
I welcome the opportunity.
Yeah, I want to volunteer to be on that road and street project.
Okay, great.
Very good. Thank you all.
So, motion for the, we need to approve this, correct?
Yes.
Or, because what's the deadline to get this submitted?
It is the 13th.
Okay, so it would be literally have to be the date, which we can't, because our next meeting is until the January 13th. So, can we approve this letter pending final approval from the council subcommittee agreement or consent from the
Yes.
subcommittee? Is
I
that
think
fair to
so.
say?
Yeah.
Well, it depends on how quick that subcommittee can get together, and this is December, so.
Yeah.
I think that's a bigger project. I I think we're probably safe enough to go ahead and approve it to move forward on down the road. We don't know whether we'll get approved.
Right, agreed.
This is just the act.
Right, well, and that's
You know?
my only,
Let's
if there
get-
was any concerns with page 2, where there's quite a few TBDs.
The only concern I got is page 3,
Okay,
where the page I got has Mr. Campbell as president.
that may be from the last time we did it. We can make an edit there, too.
My apologies.
Other than that, I think we're okay to go ahead. I'd like to see us go ahead because we don't know anything until we get it in there.
Fair enough, fair enough.
There's be 200 projects going in, and we'd be lucky.
Roll the dice, yep.
And keep in mind, you know, you don't have that $1.6 million commitment. You don't have to issue that check until
Yeah, I
the
know.
very end. And it does happen. It's not good practice, but communities do walk away at that point all the time. So you always have an out on these kinds of applications. But obviously, that doesn't look well for the next grant cycle.
Yep.
So,
Okay,
yeah,
so
if we could do this.
entertain a motion
subject-
to approve the letter, then is it?
I would make a motion that we go ahead and approve this letter of commitment for County Road 250 North from Wood Road to State Road 39.
Okay. We have a motion to approve, is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, thank you, council.
If I could get everyone to stick around, I will run across the hall and change the signature block, and I'll be right back.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other new business from council? Okay, we'll move on to claims then. Would entertain a motion for claims.
I make a motion, we approve the claims.
We have a motion to approve the claims, is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Any announcements, discussion?
Well, I would like to say thank you to Morris Jones for his service on the Lebanon City Council. He came to us because someone left, and so he's done a really great job, and we will miss you, but we'll see you around. And
Yeah. Well, I do appreciate being on the council. Learned a lot, have a good appreciation for what the council does and what they're up against and the leadership of the city, so I certainly appreciate that. You have my support going forward.
Thank you very much, Morris, appreciate it.
Oh, John did send me a note. John Copeland did send me a note that he would not be here this evening, but he wanted to put out a congratulations to Western Boone High School and their state championship. So,
Yep, very good. Wish one day we could have it be Lebanon, but I think
me
Sam's
too.
in the back, you're working on that, right, for us, right? Sam? Not paying attention, all right, that's fine. All right, would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I think he should do it.
I would love to make a motion to adjourn.
We have a motion to adjourn, is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed, we are adjourned, thanks for watching. Our next city council meeting will be January 13th, so.
Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everyone.
don't leave, you got to sign the document.
Don't leave.